Welcome back to the channel, guys. I hope you're having a good evening. So, the Superman teaser trailer rather, was released today. I believe the full trailer will be released tomorrow on Thursday for the upcoming Superman 2025 film. So, let's talk a little bit about this version of Superman. What's going on? Of course, we know James Gunn is doing it, right? James Gunn from Guardians of the Galaxy, the Marvel Universe, who did an excellent job over there and did a series of great things with Marvel to help make Marvel dominant in the superhero uh, movie area, whereas DC, outside the exception of Batman, of the Batman universe, has struggled for decades, right? Trying to catch the Marvel formula. Marvel's went on to do billions upon billions of dollars with the help of directors like James Gunn. So, if you watch the channel and you know a little bit about my history with reviewing film and television shows, you probably know Superman is one of my favorite characters, and you probably know that I have a very uh, purist view on Superman, and let me explain to you exactly what I mean by that. So, many of us are in the generation where the Man of Steel films were released 2013, until which they went into Justice League, and they tried to go into this DC universe uh, way to catch Marvel, right? Who had started out about 2008 and had been pretty much very successful with it ever since. DC behind. They're going to attempt this, and looks like around 2013 with the Snyderverse, right, under Zack Snyder. So immediately the problem with the Zack Snyder films was, and I previously liked Zack Snyder, and this created a rift between me and Zack Snyder simply because he took one of my favorite characters and I think he misinterpreted him. Now, of course, during this period, there's a lot of pressure to with the Christopher Nolan Batman films. Christopher Nolan had hit everyone by storm as one of the greatest filmmakers of our generation, right? Doing all these movies from um, Inception to what would later be Interstellar, and he did Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, arguably one of the greatest films in history, and then of course he did the Batman, uh, the what was the Bane films called? Rises, the Batman Rises films, right? Which weren't as good, but people still like them. In any event, better than the DC universe, what they were producing, right? So it seems like Zack Snyder was under a lot of pressure to produce a edgy Superman film, and that's exactly what he did. He produced this very dark, destructive, troubled, flawed Superman character that embodied all of the things that what we had known Superman not to be. Now, to go down a little quick history lesson, the first comic book to ever show Superman shows him picking up a car and people scared around him. And I don't even believe he could fly at this time. He was just leaping, right? He could just leap so far it looks like he was flying. And all that's very important to say this, that to kind of, uh, you know, not be so hard on Zack Snyder, right? Uh, that Superman that was first created, where people are afraid of him and stuff, uh, could have been said to be maybe a much more accurate depiction of the origins of Superman, right? As he wasn't this very benevolent figure, godlike morals, right? Anything but human, right? Whereas we later get, and the ones that became more popular would be the Donner films, right? Where that's where you get the Christopher Reeve film starting in 1978, where he's this very this very, when it comes to moral and good character and Boy Scout like values, right? This we get this depiction of Superman, and this is the Superman of hope, like the crest, like his family crest, which stands for hope. It's not an S. It's actually it's actually the Kryptonian symbol for hope, right? So we always thought it was S for Superman. No, and in some depictions it looks more like a 8, like a number 8 than an actual S, right? Um, and so this Superman symbolizing hope, the House of El, which he hails from, was the one that many people began to see Superman as and accepted. It wasn't until decades later, after the Donner films, that we got Superman Returns. That was much in that spirit of the Donner films, which I liked as well. But it missed the mark, I think, because we were just then getting into the darker Batman films. And, it just wasn't, the world had become edgy with realistic Superman films. And I think this Superman Returns film did borrow a little bit much from the 1978 original Donner films. But what we get with, this version of Superman looks like what many of us are hopeful for or starting to see glimpses of, is we're seeing that this is going to be kind of that hope-embodied Superman that many of us remember and many of us were drawn to, and why we like the character, because it's important to understand that the thing that made Superman so appealing to many of us was that we wanted that hope. We didn't want Superman to be that dark, edgy, anti-villain like character, right? Superman was supposed to be the pinnacle of a hero, everything of a superhero, everything that we couldn't achieve or be, right? Not like Batman, like somebody who could possibly engineer a body armored suit and run the night as a vigilante. No, this is in the very essence of what the superhero is, right? And so Superman has always been put as the model of that. But to have a model superhero, what needs to mirror that is morals, right? And so what made Superman uh, so much the superhero, the image of the superhero, was his morals were as strong as his abilities, right? Um, And so maybe James Gunn will capture this. Now, what's working in James Gunn's favor as well is that James Gunn, when he did Guardians of the Galaxy and the things he's done at Marvel, right? James Gunn has a way of capturing these kind of lighthearted films, but that can pull you in emotionally at the same time, right? And he just has a talent for that, and it's perfect for a Superman movie because remember, a character like Superman quickly becomes very comic booky because of his level of power, of superpowers, right? So to be able to emotionally grab a person in that scope is something that James Gunn was able to do with Guardians of the Galaxy, right? You could be in this very fantastical galaxy far from the realm of Earth, and yet you still have an emotional connection to James Gunn films, and the characters matter to you. So at the same time, James Gunn knows how to make his characters identifiable to the audience to the point that you know all of his characters, you care about all of his characters, right? And no matter how outrageous they are or strange they are, there are very much human elements in them. And so he has that ability that I think the Snyder films couldn't capture, right? And so what you got with Man of Steel and the Snyderverse was you got this very good looking Superman, right, who looked the part, but the storyline, him as a character, and this wasn't Henry Cavill's fault at all. Henry Cavill could have easily been cast in this James Gunn film, and I think he would have done an excellent job, right? And this Corn Sweat, who's doing the role, I think he's going to do an excellent job as well, right? He feels like Superman, even though he hasn't said anything. I can just tell how the mood of the film is that he's going to get it. Now, the only what I've seen so far, and some people have had kind of, I haven't heard a lot of negative things. Some people thought it was weird. The poster with him sitting looks like on the moon with Krypto. Now, remember, Krypto's a dog, but he's a Kryptonian dog with superpowers, so I imagine he could survive the atmospheric pressures and whatnot. Like Superman, right? But it does feel very comic booky. I think that kind of concerns some people. Also, they're releasing a lot of comic book characters very much quickly, right? And every time they do something like that, it makes me feel like they're trying to catch up with Marvel or they're after money. And that's very concerning because these brands and franchises do take years and years to build. So my only pushback would have been to those things with introducing Krypto this soon, introducing the Authority and many of these other characters we're seeing very early on in this film, Mr. Terrific and such, right? Now, I could be wrong. This could be very interesting as well because it could be a Superman film that we haven't seen before, right? Because we've seen just so many different types of Superman and Superman television shows. So we've seen pretty much everything. But this could be a film that gives us some things we haven't seen. And in that way, it might be interesting to watch. But that would be my only concern, that if you kind of want to take a page from the Donner films, like the Donner films did great because they stayed focused on Superman, and that's kind of what I wish James Gunn would have did, even though he's good at doing multi-characters. That's another talent James Gunn has. He can have several personalities, characters on the screen like he did with Guardians of the Galaxy, and it'd be interesting and everybody's story would be interesting, right? So maybe he could do this with the Superman film, right? If anybody could do it, it's probably going to be him. But that would be my only pushback, that I wish it would be more like the Donner film. Just focus on the Superman starting out, the early days. Don't throw too much on the table and let them develop over films. Now, also, maybe they're just, they feel like they've tried to reboot and restart Superman so many times. Let's just not do that. Let's just put them in the thick of it and move on, have them encounter where there's going to be Brainiac or many of these other characters of Superman. What's going to be good, again, because we've seen so many versions of Superman, is going to be seeing something we haven't seen yet from maybe the comic books or television shows or film, right? And so we might just get that with this. But so far, so good. We will check out the full trailer tomorrow, see how that goes. I'm thinking it's going to go well. I'm liking everything I'm seeing so far. Tell me all what you think about this Superman teaser trailer.